Alright, let's talk about this bifolding door that I made into a solid door. So originally it had a push handle you turn and you push in, and then it hinges in, and this side would slide over and it would bifold to the inside of the bus. Well, I wanted to keep the look of the bus because, you know, people put traditional house doors and stuff like that, exterior doors, on these buses, and I don't like the way they look. It takes away the look of the bus. Yeah, it might be energy efficient and everything like that, but I think it looks hideous. And some people think these doors look hideous. So, of course, I'll cover this up, but what I did is I took the mechanism that slides down in this little trough here, and then there is a hook that hooks up underneath here, and it helps guide it so the door doesn't come in or out, because it basically closes right onto this piece right here. You can kind of see where it had wore a groove in the paint here. Well, what I did is I took those out. I took them out, and then that allowed the door to swing out. But it was kind of funky. It was like an accordion. It was floppy, and it bent in the middle and everything. So what I did is I just added some 3/4 inch plywood behind this, cut it out with these windows. We wanted to keep these ones, and then covered up the bottom ones. And then on top of that, I wanted to make up the space between this piece of metal here, the original door frame. I added some hardboard. It's dirt cheap. It's I believe this was 3/16, and it made up that gap. So I can take and add a trim board across here to, you know, pretty it up a little bit, and I can overlap that trim board here so it looks like it's one solid piece and it doesn't have this metal frame. Getting this radius here was a bit of a pain in the butt, but we made it happen. Now, before I can make this hinge out all the way, it would only open maybe 45 degrees because it wasn't designed to go out that far. It has a pin up here and a single pin down at the bottom, and it's got like some polyurethane or some hard plastic bushings. If you come up here to the emergency release hatch, it has this air cylinder, and when you pop the button to open and close the bifolding door, it basically activates either side of this. Now, it has this arm right here, so the whole door is activated when this rod pulls in or pushes out, and it rotates this square key you see up here, and then that basically causes the door to open and close. To make this work, there is a cap. You can see that there is a threaded hole in that square piece, and then that arm. I thought we could just pop that cap off and then tap that pin down and pull that arm off. Well, it turns out that that cap doesn't actually do anything. It's just there for aesthetics or keeping the grime out. That is actually welded together. So you have to pop the bottom pin off. Maybe it's this specific bus, but you pop the bottom pin off, you slide the bottom half of the door out, and then that slides out. So all I did to get this thing to open the opposite direction is I popped our pin out for this rod. I pulled that cap off, or the actuating arm. I opened the door all the way, dropped it back down, and then refastened everything. Super duper easy. The door actually opens up the opposite direction at 90 degrees out, and it stops right when the door latches. Didn't have to do any funky weirdness to it. I did have to adjust it a little bit, which was simply just adjusting this rod that slips into our turnbuckle looking thing. Didn't really have to do anything back there. That's it. That's how we got it to open 90 degrees going the opposite direction. It turned out awesome. I don't think I'll probably ever use the air to open the door, but it's good to have around. I don't know why, because I'll have to open or unlatch the door in order to open up the door. Maybe I'll get an electronic lock that unlocks it so I can use the air, but I'm not picking passengers up, so we'll just continue to open and close the door like normal. Actually works out pretty good, because when this is on the emergency release, it acts like a damper, so it won't allow you to swing the door super fast. Like if the wind catches it, it'll slow it down, and I can adjust that with those air valves. I ended up having to take up a little space. I put a piece of 1/8 inch aluminum on the door, drilled my 1 inch hole for my latch to go in right there. I will have some foam that runs down the side, so when it does close it has a seal. And I do have a seal that runs across the top. You can use some traditional exterior door stuff. And then I also have one with a rain guard at the bottom. I'll fill in all these holes and everything like that. I'll run a piece of tin that runs the length of that. I haven't really figured out what we're going to do about this gap here. What I did is I stuck some foam in there, some pipe insulation in there, and that's that squeaking you hear when I open the door. I'll figure out that later, but this thing turned out awesome. What I am going to do on the inside is, we had the original seal that goes in right here, bolts into this little flange. What we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of fake leather or whatever we want to do, and we'll run it the length of this while it's open. You get your measurement of that's where it's pulled tight, and then we'll fasten it to the door, and we'll fasten it to this. And then when it's closed and open, you won't have any air gaps, you won't have anything right there. It'll cover up everything like the air gap you see down there. And then that foam will close up all this. The door feels totally solid when you open and close this thing. I'm really impressed with how it turned out. I thought it was going to look kind of jinxy. It's a work in progress. None of this stuff is finished, but this is how we made our bifolding door a swing out. If you guys want to see some more stuff, let me know. Like how we hid the wheel wells, the kitchen, bathroom, how I hung the tanks underneath the bus, our electrical system, all this fun stuff. Let me know.